Google have just dropped Pride Month and a number of other cultural holidays from Google Calendar. They have also renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America in Google Maps. Online, quite a lot of people are pretty upset about this, and they've been asking how can you go about boycotting Google. The short answer is with great difficulty. Google is everywhere and everything. Right now you're watching this on YouTube, it's owned by Google, but there are a few small things you can look at if you are wanting to try and move some of your Google use onto other platforms. In this video, I'll highlight alternatives you might like to look into. First up, we might like to replace Google Chrome. Two options you might like to have a look at are the Brave browser. Brave browser has built-in privacy and a built-in AI assistant. I've been using it for a couple of years. I've been really impressed. It works really well for almost everything that you would have previously used Chrome for. The other option is Firefox. Again, so Mozilla Firefox, it's been around for a long time. It's run by a foundation rather than a big corporate and works really well for most applications that you're going to want to use. I will highlight that I'm trying to find alternatives here that aren't Microsoft or Apple, and the alternatives that I'm presenting here are alternatives to Google, but I'm not making any specific statements about the good and wholesomeness or otherwise of each of these organizations. So once we've sorted our browsers with Brave or Firefox, the next step would be to have a look at how we're doing our search. Two really good recommendations. One is DuckDuckGo. It's been around for a long time. It does a good job. It has built-in privacy. It doesn't track you like Google does, which can be a pro and a con. Sometimes it's quite handy to get recommendations of things you might like, but quite often this can be taken too far. It can get just a wee bit creepy with the tracking and the pixels and things like that that are tracking what you are doing. So DuckDuckGo would be the most commonly recommended alternative to the big corporates in terms of a search engine. But another one you might like to check out is called Presearch. Presearch is a search engine that came out in the crypto boom a couple of years ago, and you earn Presearch crypto tokens for doing searches in it. For this one, I will have an affiliate link, which will gain, I think, both of us some extra Presearch tokens if you click on it. The Presearch tokens currently only worth fractions of a cent, so they're not giving you tons of money, but earning something while you are browsing and while you are searching, nice little bonus. It has privacy, it has a lot of customization available, it has some AI support, and I find that it's actually just a nice alternative to the other search engines. Next up, Google Maps alternatives. So I've got a couple here. First one, Waze, and that may be a little bit controversial in that it is Israeli owned. Some people may not necessarily like that, but it does give a nice maps interface. It does track things like roadworks, traffic incidents. You can see a little policeman there. So I think it's a pretty handy alternative. I haven't tried the app just yet, but certainly just having a bit of play on the website, looking at the driving directions, it was doing a good job. The other one, OpenStreetMap. So if you're a fan of open source, then here's a nice one for you to have a go of. And again, we can see it's got the map, lets us search and do directions and all the basic stuff. Next up, email. So Proton is a great email provider. It's one with a free plan if you're looking for an alternative to Gmail. The other way that you could approach it is to just register your own domain and actually have your own domain, set up your own web service, whether it is one of the webmail-based clients or something you are setting up actually on your machine. There's lots and lots of alternatives that you can search up. And notice there I didn't say Google up. So that can be something else you might choose to do is work on the language that you're using. If we're looking for alternatives to Google Drive, Dropbox would be the main one that comes to mind. Plenty of smaller ones as well. If you're technical, you may even set up your own little cloud server off a NAS drive or something like that. But certainly Dropbox, nice, simple one. And like a lot of these apps, they have that freemium model where you can get started and then figure out what level of service you need. Moving on to the next couple, these are where it starts to get really hard. I'm posting this on YouTube. YouTube's owned by Google. There isn't a great alternative. If you just want to host videos and then embed them into your website and other places, then Vimeo is a reasonable substitute. If you are actually looking for somewhere to go and watch videos, then it gets a bit murkier. There's a couple of smaller sites that are out there, but there's not really a viable alternative. The other sites that come to mind are things like Twitch and TikTok, which are a slightly different format from what you're probably consuming on YouTube. So it's going to be a pretty hard one to get away from. The other one that's probably pretty hard to get away from is the Android phones, and it turns out there are actually open source mobile operating systems. I've had a bit of a look at them. I think you're probably opening yourself up to a bit of a nightmare there, unfortunately. Really, Android and the iPhone are what we're kind of stuck with. This is the downside of having lots of tech monopolies and duopolies, is that it gets pretty tricky and pretty awkward when you decide you don't like one or more of them. So those are some options for alternatives to a number of the different Google services. Let me know in the comments if you've tried any of them, how you liked them, and any other suggestions you might have for people that are looking to alternatives. I hope you found this helpful. I'll be back really soon with more videos on the regular programming, which is AI research, stats, data, and random stuff.